the Alfiya of Ibn Malik in grammar, and Al-Awamil al-Mi'a. In Balagha, there's certain books that were read consistently. In logic, certain books like the Shamsiyya and the Sulam of Akhbari. For some reason, they just spread all over the Ummah, which was nice because when somebody like Ibn Arabi, to use as an example, somebody like Ibn Arabi, who was trained in Andalusia, and most of his shuyukh were in Andalusia, he comes to Konya, and he ends up giving khutbah and teaching and marrying in the culture here. His son-in-law, Sadruddin al-Qunawi, was one of the great muhaddithin of that time. Al-Ajluni said that Ibn Arabi was considered a thiqah in hadith during his time. So his hadith were sound. The point being is that you could have somebody from a completely different culture in Spain come to Turkey and they fit right in with the ulama. It's really something stunning about the Islamic civilization. And so if you go, for instance, I studied largely with Mauritanians, but the books that I studied, when I meet people from the Deoband madrasa, they studied a lot of the same books because they're in the same tradition. And even if they aren't the same books, the subject matter is so similar that we know the same technical vocabulary and we can communicate about these things, because usul al-fiqh, it differs a little bit in the Hanafi as opposed to the Shafi'i or the Maliki usuli tradition. There's some differences in the mustalahat, but overall, it's very similar. And so, what's happened in the modern period, and this in essence is a kind of Protestant impulse, which is the idea of going back to the original sources, of bypassing tradition, of going back to the Quran and the Sunnah. And this is a kind of chant that modern Muslims have. Now, part of the problem with that is the Quran and the Sunnah are in language. And language, by its very nature, has the problem of ambiguity, all language. I can use a term, and you can understand one thing, and I mean something